Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC 254, as well as an added bonus surprise for all you viewers. I'm doing a little sneak peek into Bellator 250 for the Bellator Middleweight Championship. Douglas Lima versus Gegard Mousasi for the vacant Bellator middleweight title. So I'll get into that. Save the best for last, I guess you could say. Not that 254 is a bad card at all. Anyways, so post-fight rundown of the main card of UFC 254, and then that, and so let's get started. So to kick off Bellator, or UFC 254, my bad, in the light heavyweight division to kick off the main card, we had Magomed Ankalaev versus Ian Cutelaba, and this is one of two fights on the 6-fight main card I got wrong on my predictions. So Magomed Ankalaev, he won first round KO punches, round 1, and this was a good fight. I thought, Ian would have learned from the first fight what he did wrong, even though that fight didn't last very long, and then just find the chin of Magomed, and unfortunately for him, he wasn't able to, but fortunately for Magomed, he was able to, and yeah, it was a great fight. Towards the tail end of round 1, KO punches knocked him to the ground and then finish him off. And amazing fight. Then in the women's flyweight division, we had Lauren Murphy, a top 10 ranked women's flyweight. I believe she was number 5 going into this fight, going up against Lilia Shakarova. Lilia Shakarova. Anyways, Lilia was a newcomer to the UFC, and she was a late replacement. And Lauren Murphy basically just wanted to fight, and she looked good. She got submission, rear naked choke, round 2. Lauren Murphy, being a former Invicta FC bantamweight champion, and she struggled at bantamweight in the UFC at first, and then when she dropped down to flyweight, I think she found her niche, and for the most part, she's been looking pretty good. She said she wants a title shot next, but I think there's just too many moving parts right now in the women's flyweight division to do that. But I think, one more win against a ranked opponent will for sure put a stamp on that title shot. Or I could see her as a standby, as a late replacement, in case Jennifer Maia gets injured, or has to pull out due to any sort of weight cut issues. I could see her as like someone on standby, and then Valentina Shevchenko could fight her for the title. Yeah, so something of that nature, but yeah, we'll see. Crazier things have happened in MMA, as they say. Then in the middleweight division, we had Phil Haas versus Jacob Malkoun, and yeah, this one was basically happened way quicker than I thought, but on my pre-fight show I picked Phil Haas by winning, I believe it was unanimous decision or knockout, something along those lines. Phil Haas won KO punches round 1, 18 seconds. Very impressive performance. I was pretty confident Phil Haas winning this fight going into it, and I was right. More dominant than I thought. 18 seconds. What a performance. I felt like he should have got a performance bonus officially for this. Who knows if he got any locker room bonuses. But good fight. I love these quick, exciting fights. Then in the heavyweight division, we had Alexander Volkov versus Walt Harris. And Alexander Volkov was a stud in Bellator, and he's had a couple setbacks in the UFC, but he's for the most part found his way, and TKO, body, kick and punches round 2 for Alexander Volkov, and Alexander Volkov is, I would say, 1 or 2 fights away from a title shot. Obviously, Francis Ngannou next in line for the heavyweight title, but you know what? I could see this scenario. How about Alexander Volkov versus John Jones at heavyweight? They're both tall, lengthy fighters. They both have a decent ground game. Obviously, John Jones is a more decorated wrestler in a sense. However, this would be a good test for John Jones to see how he looks at heavyweight, and if he wins that title shot, Alexander Volkov wins. Man, he just beat one of the greatest of all time. How can you deny the guy a title shot? Otherwise, Volkov will be kind of, he may need to win a couple more to really be looked at as the contender. But yeah, I think that would be a good fight for Alexander Volkov next. Alexander Volkov looked amazing. Anyways, then in the middleweight division of the co-main event, we had Robert Whittaker versus Jared Cannonier. This one I called spot on. Robert Whittaker won unanimous decision. He almost got finished in that 3rd round, but he weathered the storm, and he's a veteran. He did that with Yoel Romero in both of their fights, I believe. And Jared Cannonier is a stud, and he's still a top guy at middleweight. Robert Whittaker, I think he deserves a rematch against Israel Adesanya for the UFC middleweight title. 2 solid wins over 2 solid contenders, and Darren Till and now Jared Cannonier. How can you deny Robert Whittaker the rematch at this point? I know some people are thinking that Robert Whittaker is someone who's just going to lose again to Israel, but you never know. Give it time. Israel just fought not that long ago, and we can wait a few months, and in a few months from now, Robert Whittaker could be that much more focused, that much more polished, and whatever beating he took in this fight will have healed, presumably, and assuming Israel's in good shape, I could see a early next year fight, which fits the timeline of Robert Whittaker, because Robert Whittaker is talking about spending Christmas and just spending Christmas with his family and being focused on that for now. So I could see a scenario where after Christmas wraps up, he goes back to training camp and he really focuses on getting that belt back. And it'll make it a much more competitive rematch. So there you have that one. Then in the main event for the UFC lightweight title, we had UFC lightweight champ Khabib Nurmagomedov versus UFC interim lightweight champ Justin the Highlight Reel Gaethje. This one was quick, round 2 technical submission, triangle choke. And at this point, yeah, obviously everyone knows by now Khabib retired, and Justin Gaethje, lost. Yeah, I would say Khabib is possibly the greatest UFC lightweight of all time in terms of UFC lightweight champion, and in the top 10, 15, 20 all-time greatest in the sport. To say he's number 1, yes, he did go undefeated, but in my opinion, the heavyweight division's the most talent-rich weight class, and the talent pool is, still pretty impressive. But then, it's not like people haven't beat Dustin Poirier before Khabib or Justin Gaethje or some of these other guys. So there is that, but I would say that's one of the few complaints about it, but it's not Khabib's fault. And anyhow, but regardless, Khabib's one of the greatest fighters of all time. He'll be missed, and yeah, it'll be one of those things where we'll see if it sticks, doesn't stick. But for now, I think we need to really look at the UFC lightweight title picture, and that's going to be exciting. So that wraps up my post-fight. Then we have Bellator 250. So we have the middleweight Bellator title on the line for the vacant belt, as Lovato Jr. had to vacate the title. And we have Gegard Mousasi versus Douglas Lima. And Douglas Lima is going up from welterweight to middleweight to try to be a champ in Bellator, as he's the current welterweight bantamweight champ. Current welterweight Bellator champ. And Gegard Mousasi was right there in the title mix in the UFC for the middleweight title. And I'm giving Douglas Lima, I'll say Douglas Lima wins this fight, 51% chance. 49% chance Gegard Mousasi wins. So this is a this fight could go either way. It could go to decision, a really close decision, or it could be a one-sided beatdown on one way or the other. So this fight's really hard to call, but if you're an MMA fan, do not miss this fight. It's going to be really good. So there you have it. There's my show. And stay tuned for my pre-fight for Uriah Hall versus Anderson Silva, UFC Fight Night. And as always, until then, see ya.